Devin's smile faded in real time. Not all at once. Slowly, the way a screen dims when the battery gives out. I watched from behind the microphone. 60 people in the room, and every one of them caught it before he did. I said, "Couples suite. 2 guests. Check in November 3rd. I did not say her name. Devin and I met at a wedding. Not mine, obviously, a mutual friend's. He was the groomsman who'd forgotten his boutonniere, and I was the coordinator who had 3 extra, because of course I did. He looked at me like I'd handed him a lifeline. I looked at him like he was going to be my problem for the next 4 hours. I was right about the problem part. We got married 2 years later. 12 years after that, we had a mortgage in Sandy Springs, a 7-year-old named Cleo, a 10-year-old named Marcus, and a dog named Walter, who I had specifically said we could not have. I'm an event coordinator for a hotel chain. I plan other people's celebrations for a living, rehearsal dinners, corporate galas, retirement parties, the kind of events where the timing has to be exact and nothing can go visibly wrong. Devin ran project management for a mid-sized construction firm. He was good at his job. He was good at a lot of things. He could fix a garbage disposal, remember names at parties, and make Marcus laugh when nothing else worked. For a long time, I thought that was the whole person. We were saving for a trip to Portugal I'd been researching for 6 months. Ferry schedules, restaurants, a house rental in the Algarve with a rooftop I'd already mentally decorated. Devin showed Marcus the pictures of the ocean. That was March. His 40th birthday was in November. He had mentioned casually multiple times that a big party felt unnecessary. He was low-key, he said. Simple. I started planning in August. I do this for a living. I know how to find a venue, negotiate a caterer, manage RSVPs, and build a timeline down to 15-minute intervals. I spent 6 weeks on Devin's party because Devin was the person I had spent 15 years building a life with. I sourced a chef who specialized in the West African dishes his mother made. I found a venue with a rooftop, the same kind Devin had pointed to in the Portugal photos. I tracked down his college roommate, who flew in from Phoenix without telling him. 60 guests. Every detail handled the way I handle everything that matters to me. Quietly, thoroughly, and without anyone knowing how much work went into it. The week I put down the party deposit, Devin asked to borrow $3,000 from our savings for car repairs. I said of course. I didn't even look up from the seating chart. The car sat in the driveway looking fine. I know nothing about cars, I will be honest about that. But I know receipts, and there were none. Devin said the shop had emailed them. I asked him to forward it. He said he would. He didn't. I told myself mechanics were disorganized, that Devin handled the finances he handled, and I handled the ones I handled, and this was just an oversight. 15 years. You build a certain amount of trust infrastructure. You stop auditing things you've never had to audit before. But the $3,000 sat in my head. I am a planner. My entire job is tracking where money goes and whether it ends up where it was supposed to. I cannot turn that off. I started running math on things that had nothing to do with the car. A charge on our joint card for a restaurant we'd never been to. Devin saying he'd grab dinner with a colleague when I knew his office had a company event that same night. Small things. The kind you file and don't open. I ran into Devin's assistant Priya at the grocery store in September. She's warm, the kind of person who hugs hello. That day she held back. She reached for something in her cart she didn't need to reach for. "How are the kids?" she asked. I said Marcus was playing basketball. Cleo was doing a fall recital. She nodded. "Devin's so lucky," she said. "I really mean that." And then she found a reason to be in the produce section, before I could ask what exactly she meant. I thought about that conversation for days. The week of Cleo's recital, I sat in the third row and recorded the whole thing on my phone and sent the video to Devin while he was finishing up at the office. He texted back a smiley face and came home 2 hours later and watched it again and said she was incredible. He had already seen it. I didn't know that yet. The party invitations were handwritten. That was my choice. For a man who said he didn't want a fuss, I was going to make sure every envelope felt personal. 60 envelopes spread across the kitchen table on a Thursday evening in October. Cleo and Marcus were in bed. Devin was traveling for a site meeting. The radio was on low, and there was a glass of wine at my elbow that I kept forgetting to drink. My iPad was on the corner of the table. The notification came in the way iCloud notifications do. Small, quiet. It was a booking confirmation from a resort in Turks and Caicos. I assumed Devin had booked something for us. Portugal had fallen through. Maybe that's why he'd been a little distant. Maybe the $3,000 was a deposit on a surprise. I opened it. Couples suite. 2 guests. Check-in November 3rd. Check-out November 8th. November 3rd was the Monday after his birthday party. The booking name was Devin Brooks. The deposit was $3,000. I sat with that long enough that the wine went warm. Long enough that I read it 3 times, and the number 3 times, and the dates until they stopped looking like dates. Devin had borrowed $3,000 from our savings. Savings I had been adding to every month. Savings that were supposed to take us to Portugal, and used it to deposit on a couple's suite at a resort he was planning to visit the week after his own birthday party, with someone who was not me, while I had been sitting at this table, hand addressing 60 envelopes for him. I put the iPad face down. I picked up the envelope I'd been writing. Devin's best friend, Kendall. I looked at his name. Then I picked up my pen and kept going. I want to be clear about what I did next, because I know how it sounds. I went back to the confirmation. I read the full details. Resort name, room type, everything. I screenshot it. I forwarded it to my personal email account, the one only I access, the one I use for work. I did not call anyone. I did not wake the kids. I finished all 60 envelopes and stacked them by the door. I went to bed and stared at the ceiling for 2 hours. I thought about the Portugal research, about Priya's face, about the smiley face Devin had sent during Cleo's recital, and whether he'd been with her when he sent it. I thought about the word couples. Devin came home Friday. I made coffee. I asked about the site meeting. He said it went well. He kissed me on the cheek. I handed him a mug and told him the party was coming together beautifully. I gave myself the weekend. Not to grieve. I did that Saturday night, in a hotel bathroom during a corporate gala I was coordinating. 15 minutes in a locked stall. Then I fixed my face and went back to manage the cocktail hour. That's the job. You hold it together until you find the right moment, and then you put yourself back together and finish. Sunday morning, I sat at the kitchen table again. Devin was at the gym. The invitations were already mailed. The table was empty. I thought about what I do for a living. I build timelines. I manage the gap between what someone wants the evening to feel like and what it actually takes to make that happen. I create the moment someone stands in front of a room and receives exactly what they've been given. I had spent 6 weeks building Devin a stage. I picked up my coffee. I thought about the resort confirmation saved in my email. I thought about the toast I'd already half written, the one that started with 15 years and ended with the future. I opened my notes app. I deleted what I had. I started writing a different version. Devin hadn't thought about the iCloud once. He had handed me everything I needed, and he had no idea. Okay, I need to stop you right here because I just discovered that my dentist has been charging me for a premium fluoride upgrade I never agreed to, and I need subscribers to fund the legal battle. Hit subscribe so I can afford to fight big fluoride. Now back to Nina. I called a divorce attorney Monday morning. Not impulsively. I'd researched 3 the night before and selected the one whose approach matched what I needed. Asset protection first, proceedings second. Devin and I had a joint account and separate accounts. The joint account held our savings. I moved $18,000 into my personal account over 3 transfers across 2 weeks. Each legal, each documented, each consistent with my established pattern of managing household expenses, something my attorney confirmed I had every right to do. Devin never checked that account. He'd left the bill paying to me for years, which had always been the arrangement. My attorney flagged the business expense issue when I mentioned Devin's firm. She told me to be patient. Let evidence exist before making claims. I kept coordinating the party, confirmed the caterer, finalized the timeline, called the venue twice to adjust the microphone placement for the toast. I do not make audio mistakes. Devin found my attorney's card 3 days before the party. I had left it in the pocket of a jacket in the mudroom. Not hidden, not displayed. He pulled it out looking for a pen. I was standing at the kitchen counter and heard him behind me. "What's this?" he said. I turned and looked at the card in his hand. "Oh, that's from a vendor meeting," I said. "I'm trying to get a referral for Marcus's school auction. She does estate planning and apparently has a package for school fundraisers." Devin looked at the card. He looked at me. He put it back in the pocket and found a pen in a drawer and went upstairs. 3 days before the party, Devin sat across from me at dinner and said, quietly, "I don't think I deserve everything you do for me." His voice was off in a way I couldn't name. He was confessing something without knowing he was confessing it. "You'll get what you deserve," I said. He laughed. I kept my face warm. The party started at 7. Devin walked in at 7:15, right on the timeline I'd built, and the room surprised him exactly as I'd choreographed. Lights up, the reveal, his college roommate stepping forward first, then his mother's face. He was genuinely undone. He hugged people and laughed and looked around the room the way someone looks when they believe they are loved. He was not wrong about that. The room was full of people who loved him. That's what made it useful. The toast was at 8:30. I took the microphone from my colleague. She was coordinating floor logistics and had no idea what was coming, and I thanked everyone for being there. I said Devin was a man who provided, who worked hard, who showed up. I meant all of that. I said the week of his birthday had been full of surprises, and that one had actually landed in my inbox, and that I wanted to share it with the people who loved him most. I pulled out my phone. I read the resort name, the room type, check-in, November 3rd, check-out November 8th. 2 guests, Devin Brooks. Deposit paid, $3,000, which I mentioned came from our joint savings account the week Devin told me the car needed repairs. Devin's face did what faces do when the floor disappears. His mother's hand went to her mouth. Kendall went completely still. The room caught the shift before Devin did. 60 people recalibrating in real time. No one moved. I did not say Simone's name. I handed the microphone back, thanked everyone again, and walked to the bar. Devin followed. He said, "Nina?" Just that. I picked up a glass of water and turned around and waited. That wasn't... You don't understand. He stopped. Started again. There's an explanation. I'm sure there is, I said. Have your attorney call mine. Devin's business partner Terrence pulled me aside near the end of the evening. He looked like he'd had a difficult hour. Devin had been expensing dinners with Simone through the company for 8 months. Terrence hadn't known. Their partnership agreement has a clause Devin apparently forgot about. Devin is no longer managing any company expense accounts. The divorce is filed. Devin moved out in November. I returned the $3,000 to savings because it belongs to both of us until the settlement is final. And I intend to do everything correctly. The party deposit was non-refundable. I've decided that's fine. Marcus and Cleo will understand what happened eventually. I've thought about that more than anything else. What I told them was that their father and I had stopped being honest with each other, and that wasn't something I could stay in. Cleo is 7. She accepted it the way 7-year-olds accept things, completely, and then moved on. Marcus is 10. He went quiet for a week. Then one evening he came downstairs and sat across from me at the kitchen table. The same table, and asked if we were going to be okay. I told him we were working on it. That's the part I'm still sitting with. Well, here's my take. Nina spent 6 weeks building a stage and then changed the show, and I have a lot of respect for that kind of precision. She didn't scream, didn't confront him in a parking lot, didn't send a text at 2 in the morning. She read a booking confirmation into a microphone at 8:30 on schedule. The $3,000 he borrowed to fund the affair, she let it indict him in front of everyone he knew. Now, the public toast is where you're going to split. His mother was in the room. His co-workers were in that room. The kids weren't, but they'll hear about it. You can argue she went further than she needed to. You might be right, but he stood in front of 60 people who loved him, and Nina made sure that the truth was in the room too. The business fraud he didn't calculate, that was all him. Nina just had the iCloud on. So here's what I want to know. Was the toast the right call? 60 people, his mother in the front row, the kids 2 degrees away from finding out how it went down. Does that change how you see Nina's move? Or was he always going to end up exactly there? Drop your take in the comments. The next story is already on the screen. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you are, because we have a lot of great videos coming up. See you in the next one.